Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Topic Time with Harrison Young. I could say good evening because that's when the show will air, obviously, as it always does. But it's a beautiful autumn afternoon. Welcome to autumn. I love the season. The leaves are looking really putrefied out there. Did I say that? I should say petrified, much better. Okay, very pretty. Pretty leaves, pretty orange leaves. And today I have a really cool, how do you say, jumping high five kind of guest. This gentleman here, this is Edward LeMay. He's an actor. He's a singer. He's someone I actually worked with in a film set back on Sunday, August 3rd, and we're going to talk about the film we were in. And he's got some other things going on. We're going to actually pretty much just profile him, as I've been doing with all my guests, and I hope you guys in Raynham will like it. And we're getting tons of hits on the YouTube page, so I guess you have been liking it. So, Edward LeMay, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing really well. Thanks, Harrison. It's
Thank
good,
you.
Good to be here.
Thank you for coming in on such short notice. Okay, so let's just, I want to, before we start talking about the film, and we will definitely cover it from pillar to post, I want to go back and talk about your history. You've got a rich history and done a lot of things. As a young man, as a kid, what were your aspirations?
Wow. It's amazing that you asked that question. When I was in high school, I always wanted to be an actor.
Okay.
And then I got accepted to Boston University School of Management.
I have a quick question. Where did you go to high school?
Cloquet High School. It was in Cloquet, Minnesota.
Did you say cocaine?
Cloquet.
Oh, Cloquet. Oh,
yeah.
That's a relief.
Yep.
Okay.
CLOQUET.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's up north. It's northern Minnesota, just 12 miles west of the tip of Lake Superior.
Wow.
Yeah, so it gets very cold.
Not too far south of the Canadian border either.
Not too far south of the Canadian border.
Man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, just south of Fort Frances, Canada.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or International Falls, which is often the coldest place in the country.
Yeah, it seems to me that's where they named the Bullwinkle and Rocky show of
Probably.
That's Frostbite Falls. Pretty close.
Yeah.
Might as well be.
There you go. There you
go. All right. So you transmigrated, I guess you could say, from Minnesota to Boston when you went to college.
Yes.
So why did you choose BC for acting?
Well, no, actually, I chose Boston University.
BU. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. For a business school.
Okay.
As much as I wanted to be an actor and I love singing.
Yeah.
I just didn't think I could make any money doing that. So I have an MBA from BU.
Okay.
But I started teaching at Massasoit Community College. I taught in 2 different departments there, accounting and management.
Okay.
And I did that for 36 years. And actually, that's sort of acting, I mean, the part of the job
you
I
have
love
to present
the most.
Yourself to people.
Exactly. Yeah. It was always a presentation.
Sure.
So I enjoyed the prep work. I enjoyed the delivery, and the delivery, of course, was acting.
And you delivered it to a whole generation and a half worth of people, too.
Actually, really, I started working as the war in Vietnam was just winding down.
So I got a lot. Early 70s.
Yeah, I got a lot of vets from Vietnam, and actually a lot of housewives who were going back to work for a career.
Okay.
So my students were from 18 to 65.
Wow.
Yeah, I had a great career there.
Well, do you like associate the war with a lot of the influx of students somehow?
Well, there certainly were a lot of vets going back to
school.
So
I'm guessing that the reason they didn't have time to go to school during the war because they were drafted, so they had to go over and fight in Vietnam. So when they got back, they were making up for lost time.
Yeah,
that's possible.
Yeah. And I think it's the GI Bill still. I think they were going to school with some help from
Uncle Sam.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, so great students. I mean, some of my best students were my first students. But, I had great students every year that I was there.
Of course.
I was very lucky. I always took early morning classes because I figured that...
You say took them, you mean taught them?
Taught them,
right.
Yep. Well, I applied for that schedule, and I always got it.
Yep.
But I figured that the best students get up early,
Okay. If you can, I got to tell you, it takes a lot of grit to get up early, especially if you don't have to.
Yep. And it's worked out. I mean, I've had great students. It was just up the road from here, just up the road from your TV studio here.
Well, I know where Massasoit is. It's
Yeah.
the same city that I grew up in.
Yeah, that's right.
So I know it well. In fact, on I could talk. I don't know if you know this. I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but I actually have a photographic memory for dates. And on March 29th, 1974, it was a Friday, and I actually attended a lecture at Massasoit on UFOs of all things.
Oh, wow, okay.
Maybe you were probably teaching there then.
No, I was teaching there then.
Not that it was a night though. It was a night thing though. You were there in the morning.
Well, no, I was also there at night.
Or maybe you were there. Maybe you were in the lecture. Maybe you were in the room for the lecture.
I wasn't in the room for the lecture. I don't remember that one, but it certainly is something that we would do.
Well, there were some pretty colorful people. As I recall, there were a couple of Bills. Bill Overton, and there's another guy that did also a cable show at Massasoit.
Okay.
I think one of them unfortunately died in a motorcycle accident.
Oh, boy.
But they were bikies. They were bikers. No, they
Okay.
weren't like Hell's Angels, but they like getting around.
There were a lot of
You know what I'm
faculty.
talking about?
I don't know the specific faculty member, but a lot of faculty members
They read poetry.
had bikes.
Yeah.
The bikes and boats.
Right.
There were a lot of people who sailed out
Okay.
of Hyannis, actually,
Yep.
and out of Quincy, and a lot of bikes.
Yeah.
In fact, one of my best friends, John Murray, after he retired from the college,
Okay.
he biked coast to coast.
Wow.
Yeah.
Motorcycle, right?
Motorcycle.
Not 10-speed.
No, not 10
Okay.
speed, a motorcycle.
What about you? Were you over a motorcycle enthusiast?
No, I wasn't. But to get back to acting,
Go ahead.
I did a lot of acting when I was at Massasoit.
Okay.
Yeah, I had the lead in HMS Pinafore. I was Ray
So as a member of the faculty, they allowed you to actually act in the plays too?
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, there was actually a group of faculty called the Silver Savoyards.
Okay.
And but yeah, we could try out for any production there.
Right. Wow.
Because sometimes the parts were age appropriate. I played a shrink in Shadow
I
Box.
think you'd be a great shrink.
Yeah. Well, I also
I see one now. You look like you could be as smart as he is.
Oh yeah.
Just
Okay.
kidding.
All right. Well, hey, thanks. That's how I got the part in The Imposing too. I'm playing the shrink in The Imposing.
You're playing a shrink. Now is that all right? We'll talk about. All right.
I'm playing Professor Peter Henry.
One quick question. When you were at Massasoit acting in plays,
Yeah.
did the students and the faculty work together in the plays?
Oh yes.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
I was taking acting classes at Bridgewater State and
Wow.
at Harvard Extension at the time, and I played. I was in a number of musicals at Bridgewater State.
Okay, you want
And
to
I
name a
played
few?
the rabbi.
Rabbi?
Played the rabbi in Fiddler on the Roof.
Shalom.
Yeah.
If I were a rich man.
There you go. Although that was
those are the
Tevye.
easiest lyrics to remember in any
Although,
song that
and
I know.
I can't compete with your chair dance, but I did do the Kazadsky.
And Fiddler on the Roof?
In Fiddler on the Roof. Even though I was the rabbi, but I had the best dance, so they put me in
I'm a
that
Jew, and
scene.
I don't even know what a Dotsky is.
Yeah, it's a dance.
Russian
it's
Jew.
a Russian.
Russian Jew.
Well, it's a Russian dance, though. It's
Wow.
a Russian dance.
Okay.
Yeah. And some of my best friends are Russian Jews, by the way.
Well, now you got another best friend that's a Russian
There you
Jew.
go.
Okay.
There you go.
Did you? One more question about Massasoit. Did you know Nick Poliantis, who was the athletic director? He's
Yes.
a good friend of mine from
Oh,
school.
great.
Yeah, great
Nick
kid,
is.
yeah.
He's a yeah.
You're ahead of me at school, but I knew him.
Yeah?
I knew him back in junior high.
And yeah.
Great athlete, great coach, everything.
I probably knew him early, probably right after he graduated. So
Yeah.
we may have both known him at the same time. But Nick is still there, I believe.
We probably. Oh, I know. He's been there for
Yeah.
a long. He's coached two soccer championships,
Yeah.
NCAA Division II,
Yeah,
at least two, maybe more.
yeah,
That's pretty impressive stuff. Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, no, Nick was great. All right, let's talk about let's fast forward a little bit to
Okay.
let's talk. You were acting in school. You acted in you took a course at Bridgewater State, but this was all after you got your MBA at BU, right?
Yes.
And you were probably by this time you were in your 30s, 40s, I guess.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I
you
was-
just went back to school. All right. So how did you parlay that into what you're doing now? Eventually, did you were in any films between then and the Imposing?
It was. I'm kind of an accidental actor.
Nothing's accidental. Everything happens for a reason.
Okay,
All right?
great.
That's my take on it. But go
Okay.
ahead.
Well, this. I was an extra in a film with Jeff Bridges.
Okay.
But the reason I got a part in the film is that the talent scout, or the set scout actually,
Yeah.
was scouting for a set for Blown Away. it was a big film in Boston, a B film.
Okay.
And they found my house and
Found your house. What do
yeah.
you the one we were at for the set?
The one we were at for the set, but
Okay.
that's kind of a different story. This guy put a card under my front door,
Okay.
and
Well, let me get this straight. They
Yeah.
liked that the house looked like something they wanted to use for a set.
from
so
the
that-
outside.
Right.
Yep.
And I guess
Yeah.
when they got inside, they agreed. They still felt it was worthy of a set.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Good.
And then they ended up actually not using the inside of the house. They filmed there and they didn't use the set,
Well, you're
but
just
they
talking-
did use the outside of the house.
Are you just talking about for the imposing or for other things?
No,
for something else?
This was for Blown Away. So
Okay.
I've got pictures of Jeff Bridges in my backyard, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, so was that he was in that, right?
Yeah, and then
Okay.
I was an extra. I was a professor that time around. I was on a set at MIT
Wow,
for the
okay.
graduation.
Yeah.
I was in a couple of other scenes from a couple of street scenes.
Okay.
So
Street scenes. Well, what is that?
Yeah.
What is that? What did you? You don't look like a street type of person.
Well,
but-
no, but it was actually just a crowd on the street, and they.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
You were on the street with
So
some
there
other
were.
people. Yeah.
This particular film blew up a lot of stuff in Boston, and
Yeah.
so I was in a crowd scene when there was an alert. So we just sort of. I was
A
in
real,
crowd.
in other words, they were testing it for like emergencies, like.
No, it was just part of the film. It was
Okay.
blown away when what they were doing was blowing.
Was it a
away.
movie about an apocalyptic event?
Well, no, it was just a movie about.
I should know it.
blowing
I should
up-
know it if it's a big
Yeah,
film, but I
yeah,
know I have
well,
to admit I don't
it's
see
Jeff
many.
Bridges.
Yeah.
Jeff Bridges. It's Boston. They did a huge scene in Copley Place. They
Yeah.
actually. It made the news because there was this huge explosion on a ship in Boston Harbor,
Yeah.
which blew out a lot of windows and caused a lot of fire damage.
Oh
in
yeah, did
East
they think it was
Boston.
terrorism?
No, it was just
I
the.
kind of remember that, but I don't
Yeah,
remember what I
it
thought
was the film company, and
Was this after 9/11?
No.
Oh, no
Fortunately,
wonder they didn't
no.
think it was terrorism.
It was
Yeah.
long before 9/11, actually. So
interesting.
anyway, so I was an extra in that movie, but
Okay.
yeah. So it was kind of my 15 seconds of fame.
Oh, don't say that.
Tell-
Robert,
tell here.
You're more fame. Yeah, this is fame too, and you're also what you're doing now will give you more fame.
Yeah.
I mean, the time of your life is the best time is now, and you're going to make it more so. But let's get back to. I'm curious about. You did some singing. You like music too. Did you sing as a young guy?
I did. I was in church choir. I was in choir in high school.
Yeah.
I took music classes
Okay.
as an undergraduate. So I always
In Minnesota,
sang
right?
in Minnesota, yeah.
Yeah.
But really the peak of my music career is I sang with the Boston Gay Men's Chorus.
Okay.
I'm a tenor too, and it's really a milestone in my life. I mean, singing with this group is there are 305 of us now.
Wow.
305 guys singing this chorus.
Okay.
And we're speaking of Israel and Russian Jews. Well, this is Israeli Jews in Israel. We're touring the Middle East
Okay.
come June of 2015.
So that's right. You're actually tonight. You're going to be addressing some people in Boston, and I'm going to be bringing you back there because
Yeah.
I need to pick. You don't have a car, and I had to pick you up at the train station.
Yeah,
Totally
yeah.
worth the trip. But you're going to be talking about a trip that you guys are going to be taking in June of 2015.
Yes. Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Let's talk about that.
All right. We're the Boston Gay Men's Chorus is touring the Middle East.
Right.
We're singing at.
In all those countries where the wars are going on.
Yeah,
Wow.
we're singing in Tel Aviv, we're singing in Jerusalem, and we have 2 concerts in Tel Aviv,
Right.
2 concerts in Jerusalem, and a concert in Istanbul at the Raynham. It's now the Irani Concert Hall, but it used to be a Christian church.
When you said Iranian, is that like?
It's Irene.
Okay, I was thinking like Iranian because
No,
they border
no.
each other.
No, yeah.
Well, they
but
were.
it's
I don't know what's going to happen after the
IRENE.
war ends, but wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so that'll be in Istanbul. So you'll be in Turkey and in Israel. Where else?
Just those 2 countries. We have one concert in Istanbul, but it's the largest concert hall in Istanbul. And it used to be a Christian church. It used to be a mosque.
Okay.
And now Istanbul is more secular than most of the countries, most of the cities in the Middle East.
I'll be honest with you. I'm going to let you in on something. I'd
All
love to
right.
go to the Middle East myself, but I would be
Yes.
scared. I mean, there's so much. No matter. I mean, everywhere in the Middle East, especially with all the terrorism going on right now and the
Yeah.
war and right now they're bombing Syria, they're bombing Iraq, and who knows what they'll be bombing next. Or,
Yes.
So. I mean, what is there a chance that they might actually cancel the trip just because of that?
I doubt they're going to cancel the trip. I mean, things would have to get pretty bad. The
Right, of course.
tour company that we have working for us has done this hundreds of times.
Right.
I mean, it's their business.
Right, okay.
And they go into high-risk situations and they keep people safe. And so I'm not...
How do they keep people safe when their own government can't keep them safe?
Well, you know...
And I mean, I'm being blunt here, but this is what's
Yeah.
been happening, as you know. It's in the news.
Well, you know, the guys at the office for the chorus, these guys are... they're in touch with the State Department here.
Okay.
They're in touch with the Israeli
Consulate?
Consulate in
Okay.
Boston, yeah. And so, you know, and they're just keeping us safe. The last concert tour was in Poland and in Germany, and that was in 10 years ago. But at the time,
Well, so wait a minute. How long have you been involved in this course?
I've only been in the course for 4 years. This is my 4th year.
So this is before you joined it.
Right, right.
Okay.
But the story here is there were problems in Warsaw because there were a lot of people who did not want a gay chorus performing in public.
Yeah.
And there were huge protests and mobs outside the auditorium.
Okay.
So there were escorts for the buses, there were police escorts, and the amazing thing is the story is and I wasn't there, but the story is still going around the course. The concert totally sold out.
Wow.
And so the Gay Men's Chorus performed to a full house.
I think it's great.
It is great.
Yeah.
It is great.
I think I think that oftentimes something like this, a detriment like this, can turn out to be a blessing.
Well, yeah, and it's one of the reasons that we're doing this is because it's cutting edge. And
Right.
this whole year, all of our concerts focus around the theme of peace. And
Great.
we are not going to Israel taking sides. You know, we are not there to take sides.
Right, exactly.
We're there to deliver a message. And for the holiday concert, which comes up December 14th is the first one.
Okay, but that's going to be here in the U.S.
It's going to be here in Jordan Hall in Boston, so your viewers could go to Jordan Hall.
Okay.
December 14th at 3 p.m. is our first concert.
Day of the week is that?
It's a Sunday.
Sunday, okay.
Yeah, and it's going to be followed the following week. We're singing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay.
That whole concert actually is going to preview the first Saturday of December in Provincetown. We'll be singing in Provincetown City Hall.
Okay.
So the town hall there
right, exactly.
in P-Town. Wow. So that's usually our first concert of the concert season, and it's a great concert. The energy is really superb.
Okay, well, I mean, so you guys, what do you do? Get hop a ferry off? How many of you? How many in the chorus? 800, 600?
There's 305
300.
guys in the chorus, but there's about last year for the June concert there were about 170 on stage.
Okay.
Because not everyone
on stage,
sings.
one stage.
Yeah,
How can
on
you fit
one
so? That must have been a
stage.
pretty big stage.
That's a pretty big stage.
Now, where was
Yeah.
this?
Well, we sang in Jordan Hall.
That was
for the
last year,
June
okay.
concert. Yeah. And so, yeah, we can easily fit 170 guys on that
Whereabouts
stage.
in Boston is that?
It's Jordan Hall is kitty corner from Symphony Hall.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's in the theater district.
It's on Huntington Avenue.
Right. South End.
It is just beyond the South End.
Okay.
So if you head out Huntington Avenue, which is also known as the Avenue of the Arts,
Right.
just before you get to the museums, and actually, when you see the big YMCA sign,
Oh yeah, I know. That's right where my doctors is. My
Yeah.
doctors, my regular doctor, runs Tufts.
yeah,
Tufts
yeah.
Medical.
Yep.
Exactly.
Well, that's where Jordan Hall is.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
it's right there, and it's part of New England Conservatory.
Yeah.
The best acoustics in Boston, next to Symphony Hall.
Well, it sounds to me. How is it that? Yeah, I'm sure that is.
Yeah.
But when you guys, you must do a lot of practicing because to get that many
practice-
voices in unity like that.
Absolutely.
Must take
We
a lot of
start the
effort and
first
stuff.
Wednesday
Yeah.
in September.
Okay.
So when I leave you here today, I'm going to rehearsal.
Oh, right.
And we usually rehearse at the Episcopalian Church on Newbury Street.
Yeah. Is that we going to be tonight?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
tonight we're rehearsing at Arlington Street
Oh,
Church
okay.
because there's a Jewish service there tonight.
Okay.
Yeah. Tonight is what, Rosh Hashanah?
It is. I should know.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is that my brother who was just turned 51 the other day,
Yeah.
was born on Rosh Hashanah. I was born on Yom Kippur.
Yeah.
And I never know. I think one of my Facebook friends who I grew up with, who's also Jewish, who knows more about the holidays than I do, I think she posted that today is Rosh Hashanah. Now that you mention it, But if and it kind of like I didn't really it didn't really grasp my attention. But now that you mention it, I do recall seeing something like that on Facebook, and I think, oh, okay, that must be what it is.
Yeah. So Emmanuel is not only an Episcopalian church, but it's also a Jewish synagogue. So
cool. Okay.
So it's very, very what's that called when you're
secular?
No, when you're many religions.
Pagan?
No. Anyway, I'll think of it. But
that's okay. Multi-God. Pagan means
ecumenical. It's very
is it
ecumenical?
Yeah, because pagan means you worship more than one God.
Yeah.
And I assume that. I assume that the more religions there are, the more gods are worshipped.
I suppose.
That's pretty much how it is.
There you go.
Right.
But anyway, so this is ecumenical, and it's a great space. So tonight I'm part of the committee about doing the research and
research for what?
For the tour to the Middle East.
Okay.
So we're watching films about the culture, reading books about this culture. So every month there's an event.
Yeah.
Just to get familiar with the people that that's going to be in our audience. So that's the idea. We are not there to convert or bring a message. We're there to sing about peace.
Okay. Have you ever has the group ever gone overseas before? Since you've been in it?
Not since I've been in.
Okay. I know you went to Poland. You went to Poland and Germany. You said?
We do a tour.
Yeah.
And I was in Denver the last time we sang in Denver.
Okay.
There were 6,000 people in Denver at that point.
Right. 6,000 people. We're all going to the show.
All there. It's a conference for choruses.
Right. Oh, that's interesting. Wow.
There are over 200 gay choruses in the United States. Actually, it was international.
Okay.
So there were 200 different choruses, 6,000 people. We sing for each other.
Yeah, I hear you.
And exchange information.
So basically, you have exchanged chorus with gay guys. That's chorus gay singers from all over the country.
Yeah.
And you kind of like support each other.
Yeah, we do.
I think it's cool.
It's a great thing. We do it every 4 years.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now I know. We have to remember though that some people could be taken aback by this topic, and but I believe in my heart that if you're not hurting anybody, your lifestyle is your business, and you have every right to do what you want to do. And if you can benefit, if you can bring like peace and harmony and love to all the people that need it, I think it's a great thing.
Yeah.
And I think and sometimes a sound of a good chorus will do that. But now I'm going to ask you, what kind of songs do you sing?
A range of things. We sing some very, very classical pieces. We sing some art songs.
Okay.
We sing a lot of Broadway shows. We sing popular music. Yeah.
Broadway must be cool.
Yeah.
So would you consider? Let me ask you this: Have you ever combined the chorus with any of your plays or any plays that you've been in?
Well, not with the plays that I've been in,
musicals.
But we did an opera in fact, March at Jordan Hall.
Oh, at Jordan, okay.
Yeah, and it's For a Look or a Touch is the name of the opera.
Okay.
And Jake Hagee is the author. It was a March concert. It takes place in...
say March, you mean the month of March?
The month of March.
Okay.
Yep. And that particular concert was Berlin in the 30s, just as Hitler was coming to power.
Wow.
But Berlin was next to Paris, or probably even more so than Paris. It was the gay capital of Europe at the time.
Wow, that didn't bode well for Hitler. And we know what he did with that.
Yeah, well, exactly, and that's what happens during the opera.
Yeah,
and so it's sort of coming out as Hitler was coming to power.
Right. Wow.
And the story comes from journals and poems written by this guy in Berlin.
Okay.
Who ends up in a concentration camp, but his lover, his partner, has all of the material, and you know,
But the partner doesn't end up. This is a true story.
it is a true story.
Wow.
And while we were singing at Jordan Hall,
Yeah.
the Holocaust Museum in D.C.
Yeah.
had the journal and all this poetry on exhibit there at the Holocaust Museum.
Okay. Whose poetry?
I forget the guy's name. It's
Well, I know, but it's the guy that read.
it's the
wrote
guy
the music. Okay. Wow.
It's the guy who wrote the poetry and the journals
Okay.
that Jake Hagee used to write this opera.
Wow.
Yeah.
That must have,
So we do that, and we
Okay.
also did Alexander's House, which is another play. So,
Okay.
so we have done. It's usually our March concert that we do something. Actually, I've got a poster here.
Go ahead.
We do
Hold it
something
up.
pretty amazing. We've got this year on stage with us is going to be. We're going to be on stage with the Wicked Awesome Guy.
Ah, you got it. Beautiful.
Do you have it there?
See, look, see.
Yeah.
Monitor. Yeah.
Excellent. So this is Schultz, and of course he wrote Wicked. He wrote Pippin.
Okay.
And so we'll be
Lift your
doing
hand
a
off
lot
of that
of.
so we can see the
Oh,
lettering. Now pull it
okay,
down a little
great.
bit. No, lower it, lower
We
it.
have
Lower,
it.
lower.
Oh,
See, look,
okay.
you see the monitor. Now lower it.
All
No,
right,
go
great.
down with it. Bring it down the other way.
Okay.
Now, okay. Now you want to get every square. Now,
Okay.
now
So this is
okay.
Wicked Awesome,
It
which
says
is going to be
cabaret
the
here.
March concert.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the June concert is going to be Pride concert. We're doing this concert in Symphony Hall.
Wow.
So that's going to be June 14th in
Who's
Symphony
the woman
Hall.
in that picture?
Wow, it is Laura Benatti.
Okay, she
She's going to be
show
on
yet?
stage with us.
Great.
Yep. Yep.
Wouldn't mind getting her on the show either.
Yep. That may cost you. She's not. She's pretty pricey.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So this is our Christmas concert here. This
Yeah.
is the holiday concert, Noel,
Cabaret, there you go.
and then Cabaret is that's our February concert.
Okay.
So that's the whole year.
So you basically do a quarterly then, right?
Yeah, it's December, March, and December, February, March, and June.
June, okay.
And we're off.
In this case, you're going to the Middle East for June.
We're going to the Middle East in June. Yeah.
Wow.
So and we'll be back before the 4th of July.
Well, that's great. Well, what venues around the country have you gone to besides Denver and Boston? So far, that's it?
No. We've done a lot of concerts. This last spring, we did a concert in Lynn, Massachusetts.
Okay.
It was sold out. In fact, we raised $50,000 for charity.
Wow.
At that concert. We always do at least one away concert. We've sung all over the Cape. We've sung in Hyannis, and the benefits from that went to benefit the Gay Straight Alliances in the schools in the nearby Cape. But yes, we do a lot of traveling all over New England.
Well, all over New England, but what about the country? Besides Denver, I mean.
Before I was with the chorus, they were in Montreal, Miami.
Yeah.
So.
Well, they haven't traveled there since? They haven't traveled around except for Denver?
Right. And we're going back to Denver next year, 2016.
Oh, okay.
So 2016 we'll be in Denver again.
Over a year
but
from
let's
now.
talk about the imposing
Let's talk
and
about it.
how
Go
we
ahead.
met.
Okay, sure.
Because I met you in my house.
Right. We didn't actually meet. You were in a
Well,
big scene, and by the time, I got to tell you, I'll be honest with you, by the time, I'd been there all day, and we were waiting to shoot, and I remember Craig Allen, what's his name? Craig Allen. Alan Redwig.
Alan Redwig.
Yeah, his Alan. I think his middle name might be. I'm thinking. I don't know who Craig is, but maybe
Anyway.
that's his name. I thought it was his middle name, but
Okay.
we were. It was a long day, and I was getting kind of tired, and we were doing that scene over and over again. And you came up, and you started belting out a show tune or something.
Oh yeah, because it was a party. Yeah,
Right.
I sang Miss Otis Regrets.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a song that I knew. I didn't know I was going to be singing actually.
Right. Everybody was saying that's his. This is the gentleman's house. This is the gentleman whose house we're in.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's pretty interesting. Another story. How they found the house.
Yeah.
Ellen and Alexis, and you know
Alexis
Alexis.
was a great guest on my show, and
Yeah.
May 8th of
Rose
2013.
Casco.
What's that? Alexis Rosasco, yes.
Yeah. She and Ellen found my house
Yeah.
on Airbnb. So that's actually another thing I'd like to talk about
Sure, go
because
for it.
I'm a host for Airbnb.
What's Airbnb?
Airbnb is
Airbnb.
AIR,
Yeah,
for air, short for air mattress.
gotcha.
B&B, short for bed and breakfast.
Okay.
And it's actually a pretty large corporation. Their office is in San Francisco, California.
Okay.
And they
Well,
actually...
I gotta ask you, what is air mattress and bed and breakfast? Oh, that's because is it a chain of bed and breakfasts with an air each has an air mattress?
The reason the word air is there is because the company started with air mattresses, and they said even if you have an air mattress in your living room,
Yeah.
you can be a part of Airbnb. You can be a B&B. So they offer rooms to share.
Okay.
They offer private rooms.
All right.
They offer apartments, boats, yachts,
Wow.
whole homes, castles in Europe.
Wow.
So it's Airbnb, but I'm involved because I have a townhouse in Boston,
Right.
which you know,
Right.
and it's a three-family home.
Right.
So I rent out a studio through Airbnb,
Yeah.
and I rent out a duplex through Airbnb. And in my apartment where you were, I rent out a private bedroom bathroom suite
Okay.
through Airbnb.
Is that in the basement?
No,
Is that in,
it's
that
on
seemed
the
like that's
fifth
the one
floor.
room we were. Oh, okay. How many
It's
floors?
on the
I thought there were like
there's five.
three floors to that.
No,
There's
there's
five.
5 floors.
Five. Okay. Because I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
we went up to the ceiling, the loft, and we sat out and watched the skyline. And you know, it looked like it was threatening to rain, but it didn't. It was a pretty nice afternoon.
Yeah, so there's a roof deck.
Right. That's what you call it. So
Yeah.
that's not even. But it seems to me I only recall three stories.
Well, yeah,
But apparently I thought maybe the other two were in the lower.
They're below you.
Below ground.
Right.
Okay.
Well, one of them is below ground because the studio is a walkout.
Oh, okay.
You walk out onto a patio.
Right.
And then beyond the patio, there's parking.
Right.
But that's the whole house. There's a studio, and then there's 2 more floors, and then there's 3 more floors on top of that.
Okay, but how many units do you own totally?
3.
Okay, and
3.
you rent them out to other people?
Well, yes, I was renting them out long term.
Yeah.
And then what happened, I've got a great contractor, actually, who was working with me.
Okay.
And at the same time, they were working on houses on both sides of me. So my tenants in the duplex really couldn't stand the construction noise. So finally, we tried to work around their schedule.
Okay.
And so they moved out.
What were they constructing?
I was rebuilding the house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I put in 3 new kitchens, 5 bathrooms.
No, those things, that shouldn't take too long. I mean,
Well, it did because I was doing it floor by floor.
Oh,
so
I see, yeah.
It took a total of 3 years, but 3-4 months at a time.
right. Oh, that is a lot of noise. I didn't realize. I thought those
Yeah.
things went up in like a couple of weeks.
No, not the renovations in the South End.
Interesting.
The house
well,
next
you
to
said
me.
this is your apartment's in South Boston, not
It's in
South End.
it is in the South End.
Oh, okay. I thought it was
Yeah.
because the address they gave me was Brookline Ave, South Boston, but I guess it was the South End.
Yeah, it is
Okay.
the South End.
Interesting.
Yeah, so and anyone who's interested in seeing pictures of the house,
complex, yeah.
they can find them just by going to Airbnb.
Okay.
And then filter for South End. Go
Right.
to Airbnb, put in a couple of dates, say you're looking for a place in Boston, South
Right.
End, and my picture will come up on the apartments that I'm renting short term.
You look like a very good landlord to me.
Well, thanks. So anyway, what happened, and I totally understood why the tenants wanted to move out.
Yeah.
And I wanted to bring in some income, but I decided, well, I better do some short-term rentals.
Yeah. Okay.
And I had rented a place in Venice Beach, actually. I was in Santa Monica for an actor's workshop
Okay.
with Tim Miller, by the way, who's
Yeah.
a pretty famous guy.
Yep.
He has his own system. Anyway, so I was there with Tim Miller and stayed at a place that I rented through Airbnb.
Okay.
And so that's kind of what I put together and just listed my place on Airbnb. And it went so well that I said, well, why don't I just keep doing this?
Sounds like the Craigslist of apartments.
It's a Craigslist of apartments. So far, I've had 350 reservations since
Wow.
a year ago, April. And one of the guests, of course, was the M-Town Film, so we're filming The Imposing there.
Okay, that's why they found you because.
Yes.
Okay. So Alexis found you from that, from
Yeah,
Airbnb.
Yeah, they found me online.
So they were looking for
through
a really
Airbnb.
cool. I understand. That's great. So they were
Yeah,
looking
so
for
they
a
were
really
looking
nice
for a cool apartment.
and they found a great actor and to boot.
Well,
to
yeah,
go
I
along
mean,
with
we
it.
were looking through the house, talking about the house, you
Right.
know, and talking about the house. At one point, Ellen said, "Hey, have you done any acting?" And I says, "Actually, yeah, I have."
Wow.
And so he said, "Well, do you have a resume?" I said, "I do, but it's not up to date."
Okay.
And so he said, "Well, why don't you update it and send it to me with your headshot?"
Wow.
And so I did. And
Yeah.
the next thing I know, I had a screen test and a part in The Imposing.
That's incredible.
I guess I was typecast as a shrink.
Well, so that,
Because I've done a shrink a lot.
but the
you know?
scene that you did that I was in, were you
Yeah.
supposed to be drunk in that scene?
No. Did I look drunk?
No, you didn't look drunk, but you were acting. The way you were singing, I mean, you were going around like carousing with the people, and I got a sense that you were supposed to be drunk. You didn't. I know you weren't really drunk, but I thought that's what the scene was.
No. Well, the scene was. What happens right before that is I'm actually not only a shrink, but a professor at Harvard.
Right.
And Alexis, who plays Ellen,
Right.
is also a psychiatrist, but she was a student of mine at Harvard.
What was she doing with that guy? The one that bumped her, the one that she bumped into with all the muscles
yeah,
on him?
he's a patient of hers.
Oh, I get it.
You're going to have to see the film to figure out what she was
so I should definitely
doing.
get psyched to see it.
Yeah.
I'm not in the trailer though. I didn't see myself. I saw several of the other people in it, but hopefully.
Yeah, well, that's a rough draft of the trailer. That's not the final
Oh, really?
trailer.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a rough. Yeah, they
I'd love
still
if they
haven't
called me back
finished.
for more scenes, but that's up to Craig and Alan and Alexis to do.
Yeah, they call in extras a lot.
Right.
They did another scene at Machine in Boston with about 300 extras in that nightclub.
Well, okay.
They filmed all night after the nightclub closed. I wasn't in that scene, though.
Right, okay. No,
So,
that was right. But
well, it so happens that I sang because, well, Ellen knew that I sang with the Gay Men's Chorus.
Oh, okay.
And so it's a party. And actually, the party, while I wasn't drunk, the party is it's a fantasy. The party is actually going on in the head of Matthew.
Oh, okay. He's the patient.
He's the problem patient.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's his fantasy of what one of Ellen's parties would look like.
Oh, that's amazing.
So
okay.
yeah, so that's I'm probably giving away too much.
No.
Here.
That's I'm glad though. No, you're not giving away too much. This is something that if someone watched the film, if somebody put it this way, if nobody watches, if somebody before the film comes out, somebody hears this, they're gonna be more inclined to want to watch it.
Yeah.
People love surreal stuff in film.
Yeah, I've read the summary of the whole script. I haven't read the whole script, and certainly.
Well, what was the song you were singing?
The song that I was singing is Miss Otis Regrets.
Yeah.
And it seemed really appropriate to me because The Imposing's a very dark film.
Right.
And Miss Otis Regrets it's a Cole Porter song, but it's very dark because Miss Otis regrets that she can't come to lunch because last night she strayed and she slept with this guy who deserted her.
Okay.
So she takes a gun from under her velvet gown and shoots her lover down.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Now I remember. The lyrics were a little bit dour.
Yeah, they are dark.
Yeah.
And then the crowd comes, drags her from the jail.
Okay.
And hangs her on a tree.
Wow.
And so
that's
she
what
regrets.
I remember now. Yeah.
Yes.
You were singing about a hanging, and that's what it was.
Yeah. So it's a dark film. So it just seemed appropriate. So it was kind of off the cuff.
Who wrote it into the script? Anybody that you was?
No one wrote it into the script. It was really off the cuff. Ellen just asked me if there was a song that I could sing.
Alexis asked you.
Yeah.
AKA Ellen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so.
So it was your call to sing it.
It was my call, but it just seemed to fit because, Alexis is a gorgeous woman in this film.
Oh, she's a gorgeous woman regardless. The film or in real life and anywhere in between.
Yeah. And
she looked good
so
on my
she's there,
TV set last year.
and it's a dark film and it's a dark song.
Yeah.
And so it just seemed appropriate. And I was willing to do it, and I did it a cappella, which I usually don't do. But I figured if it wasn't going to work, Alan wouldn't put it in the film. So that was my.
But obviously it did work. 'Cause
Well,
yeah, right. Or is the jury still out on that?
yeah, I think the jury's still out. I'm not sure I'm going to be singing in that film.
Okay.
I don't know that I'm going to make the final cut. I may end up on the cutting room floor.
Well,
Harrison.
well, I may too. So let's just
Yeah.
keep our fingers crossed and hope that for our effort, well, first of all, I don't think you will because Alan appreciated your ability without even knowing you were an actor.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, he knew I was singing for the Gayman's Chorus, and so it was sort of off the cuff. And as I say, I was happy to do it.
Right.
And so, hope for the best. And actually, I think he filmed it so many times that I think he does want to use it.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
they did it 3-4 times. I think there were 3-4 takes on that particular scene.
At least.
Which is why we were there all day, you know.
Well, that scene didn't happen. So they didn't shoot that till the night. We were
Right.
there, I got there at about 2:00 in the afternoon, and by the time they shot it, it was dark out. I mean, it was August 3rd, so it was still obviously that's pretty late.
I know it. I was there from 7:30, as was some
you
of
lived
the
there.
cast. I know, but I was there. The cast was there. There were a lot of people reconnoitering on the roof deck. You know.
Exactly. Yeah.
So anyway, it was a great day. I liked
I
doing
had an
it.
awesome time, and I got free parking because it was Sunday on
There you
Tremont
go.
Street. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good day to shoot, wasn't
Right,
it?
and right near. It was a great day, and it was right near and I love that view. And you can go up on the roof any time and just look out at the Boston skyline. And it's awesome.
I do. I go up at dusk. Really.
Yeah, I know the star. It was kind of overcast. You couldn't really see the stars, but I bet on a clear night it must be better than any planetarium.
It's actually not. You can't. There's too much light pollution.
Yeah, you're probably right.
You can never see the stars from the south end.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what you can see are the lights coming on in the towers over Copley Place and the Back Bay.
Sometimes the lights in a building are prettier than the stars, especially when you say there's light pollution.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So it works. It works well. It's a great time, you know, at night, at dusk. You know, it's dark enough so that you can see the outline of the buildings.
Right.
And it's dark enough so that the lights are coming on.
Right, yeah.
But it's light enough so that there's still blue in the sky and there's still some yellow sun, you know, and
any chance you could cover it with something like a dome for the winter time so you could go out there?
No,
and
you
freeze?
can't do it. You know, it's part of the permit system in Boston that for every foot you go up on the roof, you've got to go back a foot.
What do you mean, back a foot?
So the roof deck, nothing on your roof can be visible from the street.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because the south end of Boston is a Victorian neighborhood.
Yeah, okay. I mean, historically, it's very upscale.
And it
is an upscale neighborhood. I've never been in a Boston townhouse before until I was at yours.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
great.
It's definitely a new experience for me.
Thanks.
I mean, I know that Beacon Hill is supposed to be pretty posh, but this was kind of like that, right?
Well, you know, the South End followed Beacon Hill because it's the new rich. It was the merchants in Boston in the 19th century.
Right.
So they put up all these. The homes belonged to merchants. Now, actually, my home belonged to the workers. Okay. So it was people who worked in the other mansions that lived in my house.
What year was your home built?
1860.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's Victorian.
It is Victorian.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Before the Civil War started, even.
It is.
Wow.
Yep. Amazing. You are good with dates, huh?
Well, I'm not. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good remembering that the Civil War started after 1860. I thought everybody knew that.
Yeah. Well,
you know, I mean, I got an education, you know.
Yeah, there you go.
In Brockton, like you. Well.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I knew that, but that is incredible. And,
yeah.
And I bet, you know, there were probably, and I suppose at that time the roads were unpaved and, you know, a lot of clip-clopping with horses.
Well, and actually, you know, the roads weren't even there. 2 buildings north of me was the Back Bay.
Okay.
The Back Bay came that far. My building happens to stand on solid ground. It stands on
I was going to say, I think the Back Bay is a landfill.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, which is amazing. I actually, back in 1996, I actually had a chance to possibly work for the Brush Hill Tours, but unfortunately on Wednesday, July 31st of that year, I was training to drive the big rig.
Yeah.
You know what that is? Brush Hill is where it's a bus, but they take people on tours of the city.
I know.
Right. You know what it is. Well,
I do.
I was taking a ride on Mass Ave, and I almost clipped a guy on a sanitation truck.
Uh-oh.
And the instructor said, "That's it. You can't. I don't think this is the job for you." So
wow.
my depth perception was a little bit narrow or something, so I never got it. But I got to take the tour, and I learned about landfills, and that's pretty fascinating. That a lot of Boston is actually landfills on the ocean.
It is.
And I can't imagine how they did it, but it must have been
Well, you know,
pretty
one
incredible.
of the things they did is they had trains going 24/7 for years, taking the rock from the Quincy quarries, the rock that wasn't sheets of granite.
Yeah.
They used it to fill the back bay. It's part of what they used.
Well, you know your
They
history.
also cut down some of the hills because Boston used to have 7 hills.
Right.
You know?
7 hills.
Yeah.
How many do they have now?
They have Beacon Hill, Bunker Hill, three or four hills,
Okay.
and they're not very high.
Right.
You know, so
that's why they're hills and not mountains.
That's right. That's right, because the rest of what was the hill is in the back bay.
Wow.
So, and actually, my house sits on the old Boston Neck, and when Paul Revere hung his lantern, and who was it? Dawes who made the ride.
I think Paul Revere made the ride, didn't he?
Well, I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
It was either Paul Revere or Dawes who made the ride. Anyway, Boston Neck.
Right.
Came down Washington Street, just a few blocks from my house.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. From all the way from Lexington, right?
Yeah, they went from
Wow, that's a pretty good.
Yeah.
You know,
do you know they probably
swap.
never said the British are coming because everybody in the colonies was British at the time.
Well,
right?
Well, yeah, but they
Because
all
we
agreed
were a
that the
colony.
British they had to get rid of they had to, but they weren't all they were colonists, but the soldiers were Brits, and they wanted them out of the.
Yeah. So maybe they said the soldiers are coming.
Why would they? What were you saying? You're saying the history books are wrong.
Well, I'm just saying that we were a colony of Britain at the time.
Yeah,
so
right.
we were technically also
yeah,
British.
but most of us wanted to defect.
We weren't English.
Right.
Well, some did.
Well, enough
did,
so that we did eventually.
Yeah,
right.
that's
so we
true.
Had the Tea Party, the Boston Massacre. I think that pretty much sealed the deal.
So maybe they did say the British are coming.
Right. Well, I understand that in a tavern right in a couple of towns away in Stoughton, which is 2 towns from here.
Yeah.
They actually did. I think part of the revolution was planned in a tavern right there in the 1700s. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, this whole area, even though it's not Boston proper, is still has a history of planning the revolution.
Oh yeah.
Setting up. You can see setting up for the revolution
Yeah.
and people that probably signed the Declaration of Independence. I don't know. I mean, I can't tell you where they're from, but if you looked, if you really dug deep into the archives and found out, you could probably see a lot of the locals around here that probably signed it, and from this town and surrounding towns.
Yeah.
I mean it is amazing.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I always think about you can't take your political freedom for granted in the United States because it's pretty precious, especially considering what's happening in the rest of the world right now. Obviously.
Yeah.
And it's good that you can be a little different than the norm and still be accepted, and that's very good. And I think that's something that says a lot for. I mean, we as a society have really evolved in the long way. And there's a lot of negativity, but we've really come a long way since even like when I was a kid, and things that might not have been accepted back then are, and even just like the racism it seems to me it's a lot less now. I don't know. I'm a white guy, so I can't speak for what people that are the people of that are not Caucasians. Yeah. But it looks to me like
there's progress. There's more to go.
Right. Of course there is. There'll always be more to go.
Yeah.
Nothing's perfect.
But there is
except
progress.
Texas. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I never thought I would see gay marriage, for example.
Right.
When I first came out, because I came out a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, I have nothing against that. You know what I'm saying? I think, but a lot of people feel that gay marriage might lead to more, it might lead to more like bizarre.
But it hasn't.
No, it hasn't. No, I know that. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm neutral. Like I said to you before, people do what they want to do. They're not hurting anybody.
Yeah.
Especially animals. As someone who's a vegan, I do care very much about animal rights.
Yeah,
and I know that.
Good.
It's not, and you are too.
Most of the time I'm a vegan.
Well, you say most. I mean, are you a vegetarian?
Yeah, I am. And pretty much I'm going on my 3rd year.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah,
awesome.
so sometimes I'm a vegetarian, but.
Well, what do you say? What do you mean sometimes? Do you eat meat at all or not?
No, I don't eat. I rarely eat meat.
Well, see, rarely is not never. Never is.
Right.
You're going to be a true vegetarian. Never eats meat.
I know.
I have been for 32 years.
Oh wow, that's great.
I know.
That's
since
great.
July 30th, 1982.
That's excellent.
That
so
was a Friday.
10 times further along than I am.
Well, yeah, I know, but you know what you're going to find as you age, as we all age.
Yeah.
You're gonna find that, number one, you're gonna feel a lot. I mean, I'm sure you look pretty healthy right now.
I'm pretty healthy.
You're pretty healthy, but your longevity is probably gonna be a lot more now because you're a vegetarian.
Yeah.
And if you stop eating meat completely, you'll see that it's like there are great foods that you can eat that aren't meat, but that are meat substitutes. And the great thing is about the vegetarian revolution is
I don't miss meat. You know, I
don't either. I eat veggie burgers every day, and I love them.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I look for a lot of plant protein, you know, like there's a lot of protein in kale and spinach.
I eat kale every day.
Yeah,
both
beans,
kale
of
and kale chips.
Yeah,
and bean chili, and I also eat a pound of chocolate every day in my 2 smoothies.
Wow.
I love it.
Wow, great.
Yeah, you talk about living. I mean,
is there protein in chocolate?
Well, it's not so much. Well, first of all, raw cocoa doesn't have protein in and of itself, but it's great for lowering blood pressure. It's got a lot of antioxidants.
Great.
So these are 2 smoothies I have every day, and what I add to the smoothie is protein. Like, believe it or not, hemp, which is marijuana, and I'm not condoning using marijuana, but hemp has a lot of protein, and I add that to the smoothie.
Oh, good.
My parents, who were in the 70s, like you are, they were a little older than you are, have got me onto the smoothie diet. My mother's just turned 78, my father's 79, and they're both very healthy people, and they're not vegans though. They're not. I'm the only vegan in the family. I'm the only vegetarian in the family. And I'm trying to lead by example. And I don't think they don't eat a lot of meat, but they do eat some.
Yeah.
But I like to show that I've been around. You know, I'm turning 55 next Friday. And for the last 32 years of those 55 years, which is more than half my life, I haven't eaten any meat. And I feel better than I ever. I feel better now than I did before I turned the corner. And became a vegetarian. And I'm also about 60 pounds less than I was in high school 40 years ago.
Wow, great.
I'm like 140 now, and it's pretty lean. You know, it's lean, kind of cut good. And in high school, I was over 200.
Wow.
Yeah, so when I was 14, 15 years old.
Wow. Wow.
So, yeah, so I feel, like I said, I feel wonderful. And I condone it. I would recommend being a vegan, not just because it's humane. I do care about animal rights. Yeah. Even when I was eating meat, I always felt bad about what animals went through. When I was told way back in 1970 by someone who was actually the son of a camp director where I was attending camp down the Cape at that time, that I should grow my hair long and become a vegetarian. You know, that was during the hippie years.
So when did you?
Yeah, but not
did you have a hippie phase?
It took 12 years, but I finally did it.
So did you have a hippie phase?
I had a hippie phase. I used to have when I was the other thing when I was 14. Part of that 200 pounds was probably 30 pounds of hair that I used to have down on my shoulders.
Okay, great.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, yes, I had a hippie phase.
Excellent.
Yeah, definitely. In a way, I'm still kind of a hippie type. I mean, I'm a liberal. You know, I believe. I mean, I'm not right wing, but in a way, you know, today, I'd say there's more of a bond between the Dems and the Republicans and the belief system. There's no straight and narrow one belief versus the other anymore.
Yeah.
It's because there's variations on the theme for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, look at President Clinton was a Democrat, but he supported the death penalty. President Bush is a Republican. I'm not sure, but I thought he was okay with abortion in some cases.
Yeah, but I'm not sure, but
right. But
anyway.
That's my point, though. So
yeah.
So I think that to divide people's political beliefs down party lines is totally wrong, because people can have views on one thing, you know, along one line, and totally different on another thing on a different line. You know, so right wing and left wing doesn't. I think we're all kind of like on a graph. We go up and down depending on what benefits us.
Yeah, it's a continuum.
Right, exactly, a continuum.
Okay.
All right, so let's talk about what are your future plans besides the chorus for acting and whatnot?
Well, let's see. One of the things I'm doing with Airbnb, there is a conference in San Francisco.
Okay.
November 2021, the weekend before Thanksgiving.
Right.
Yeah. It's the first conference it's a global conference from hosts from all over the world. And Airbnb is in 90 countries at this point.
Wait a minute, it's a global conference for which?
Airbnb.
I know, would you say posts?
Hosts.
Hosts?
H-O-S-T-S.
Hosts of what?
Well, there are guests and there are hosts.
Right, I understand.
Yeah,
you're a host or a guest?
I'm a host.
You're a host. Okay,
yeah,
I understand.
I'm occasionally a guest too, but this is for hosts or for, you know, for the person who is entertaining the guests.
Okay.
So, so I'm flying to San Francisco for that. I'm going to be there for 6 days.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I hope to meet people from, probably there'll be people there from 90 countries.
Do you happen to be multilingual by any chance?
I speak French.
Okay.
And I read.
That's multi. That's more than one.
I read Spanish.
Okay.
And I spent.
I flunked both, by the way.
Oh, okay. Well, I took French from the time I was in college, but I really learned French around 2001. I spent a year in France.
France, wow!
And so that was great. So
you were in Canada too, or not for the singing?
I wasn't in Canada for the singing, but
Montreal.
I spent a lot of time in Montreal. Actually, all 4 of my grandparents were born in Quebec.
Oh, no kidding!
In the province of Quebec.
Do they speak the same kind of French up there that they
No.
do? That's what I thought. I wasn't sure.
No, they
though.
do not. They speak Quebecois, and when I was growing up.
Yeah.
So, well, my grandparents, of course, spoke French, but
Okay, right.
most of my aunts and uncles spoke French. But it's not the French I learned in school.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so it's very well. You can hear it now if you go to Quebec.
I've been there. I've not been there. Now, is Montreal in the Quebec province?
It is.
It is, but I don't know if I guess I was there. Yeah, I was there in '77 actually.
Yeah.
I stole my
for the
mother's
World
car,
Fair?
for lack of a better word. No, I went out for a weekend on August 20th of 1977, and I came back. It was a Saturday. Then I came back the next day.
Yeah.
I got my very first speeding ticket in Vermont on Sunday, August 21st.
Oh wow.
$20 ticket, mailed cash. I probably shouldn't have, but I think it got to where it needed to go.
Yeah.
Then and that was my first.
Well, it must have because you're here.
Right. Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm here, and I didn't get cited for it. But
Right.
Nobody. I mean, I'd never had a speeding ticket before. No one ever told me you don't mail cash for a speeding ticket.
Yeah.
Now, if I get a speeding ticket, I appeal it automatically.
Oh, okay.
No matter what, everything is, you got to appeal it.
All right.
Yeah, you got it. So, but so you're going to be doing that. So, what
Yes.
about acting though? What about other films? Are you still in the? I mean, hopefully you're going to be doing more stuff for the imposing. But what about other film projects?
Yeah, actually, I'm doing a video article for. It's Yuri Ellison blog.
Okay.
So we're doing a walkthrough.
Who's Yuri Ellison?
He's actually a guy who has a blog.
Okay.
And one of the things that he's doing, the blog features people's homes.
Okay.
So he's walking through the homes, and we're talking about the house. So.
Well, is this part of Airbnb?
Well, the reason he asked me to do it is because I'm on Airbnb.
Oh, okay.
Right. And so, he wants that angle, but we're just walking through the house,
Okay.
talking about where I got the ideas for the renovations, etc. And actually, one of my main, there's a book out called A Pattern Language.
Okay.
It's about architecture for people who aren't architects.
Okay.
So it's architecture for the lay person.
Okay.
But it's full of great ideas, and I tried to put them into the house. For example, you may have noticed there's light coming into every room from at least 2 sides.
What, in your apartment? Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So even though it's a row house, there's...
I know, but you know what else I noticed? Everything was like marble. Everything was so like shiny. Didn't we have to take our shoes off for that? Yeah,
yes,
you did. That's
yes,
right. Like
you have to take your shoes off.
So you don't
when you
have
come
scuff
into my
marks
house.
on the floor.
Well, it's because there were 35 people in the house.
Right.
And
that's all I thought. If I did a head count, I would have said at least 60.
There's probably more, but there are 35 people at one time.
Okay.
So I couldn't have all these people walking with dirty shoes all over my house.
I gotcha.
Especially on a rainy day.
Well, you're right. I know. It might have rained earlier, right?
Yeah, everybody takes their shoes off, but. It's just something I encourage people to do anyway because it keeps the whole house quieter and cleaner.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we did do that.
Yep.
But anyway, there's light coming from both sides, and whenever I had a choice, I put an alcove next to the windows so that you could see the other windows from every room.
Wow.
So
awesome.
If you notice from the living room, it's right next to the music room library.
Okay.
And so from the living room, you can see out the window in the library, which was also Ellen's office, by the way, in the film.
That's right.
But in the back of the house, you go from the dining room into the kitchen, and the kitchen is in an alcove, so you've got 3 bedrooms there, and I don't know if you saw the.
We're actually, you know what? We're actually going to wrap it up.
Oh wow!
But that's it. We're going to do the chair dance. Thanks for being my guest. Take care.
Wow! All right. Hey. All right. So I don't know.